Today's video is what if Tyler and Shawn swap seasons. So let's begin. Shawn gets put into the Killer Bass, with Tyler obviously not being in the season because he's in Buckley Island. So, first of all, who would jump on what team? I think Shawn would jump, and I think Shawn would be friends with Harold and Ezekiel. This is because I imagine that I think it'd be pretty cool that if Shawn's group was basically the opposite of Duncan's group. Also, I do think Shawn and Duncan would get on pretty well, so Duncan wouldn't mess with Shawn despite being friends with Harold. And, in fact, I probably think he would mess with him less considering the fact that Duncan and Shawn would actually get on pretty well. Katie and Izzy would still swap teams, and Beth wouldn't jump. And neither would Courtney. And DJ. However, I think Shawn would jump because he would want to help the rest of his team, sending the Bass to elimination. And Zeke still says his comment because with Shawn here, I unfortunately don't see Ezekiel being saved. So Zeke is eliminated. Even if Shawn did try to talk to him about, how they need to see each other as equals, I still think that everyone votes for Zeke for saying his comment. In the Big Sleep Challenge, Shawn would be pretty good at this because he would be afraid of seeing zombies. We see a confessional of Duncan explains while he finds Shawn very weird with the zombie thing, he still finds him pretty cool. Jeff and DJ would also think he's pretty chill, which Harold will take note of. Eva, Duncan, and Shawn would last the longest in this challenge, with Trent, Heather, and Gwen. And usually it's down to Duncan and Gwen, because Gwen narrowly won in the original. However, I do think Shawn would win this challenge, just because of the fact I think Shawn is really good at this type of thing, and I imagine that he stayed up very late nights, being afraid of zombies, meaning he wins the challenge. Everyone votes for Justin because he cheated in this challenge, and they would rather have Owen around than a cheater because at least Owen attempted in this challenge when Justin cheated for the entire thing, and he, for all they know, that he could have been asleep first. Episode 4 is Dodgeball. Noah refuses/doesn't compete. Eva, Duncan says wake me up is the last thing he'll do, so Eva and Harold would compete on that team, and I think Courtney or Shawn, and even Shawn would probably try to wake up Duncan, and Duncan would still have the new guy strategy, sending the Gophers to elimination, and they still vote for Noah. Episode 5 is not quite famous, with of course DJ, Courtney, Bridget, Heather, Trent, and now Owen, I think would compete in this challenge. Jeff would still accidentally break his skateboard and Eva gets puked on, and Harold would still be boxed for his team, and the Gophers to elimination. Now Heather can't save herself anymore without Justin as her human shield, because she can get Lindsay and Beth and maybe Owen, but the other 6 are definitely voting for Heather. Even if Cody voted for Trent, that's still like Heather was able to get Owen and Izzy, but in this universe, I don't think she would be able to get them. As in this timeline, she's put a bigger target on her back, so I do think Heather gets voted off. Episode 6 is The Sucky Outdoors. And Katie and Sadie still got lost. I mean, the Killer Bass win. And I think because Shawn would panic that they get taken by zombies, I think he would get everyone to search for them. Meaning that Katie still gets voted off like in the original. And the votes will go Shawn's way. However, because he did notice and try to help find Katie and Sadie, which makes the Bass even more disorganized, I still think Katie and Sadie get voted off after this challenge. And I think Eva would have mellowed down a bit, as they would realize she's too useful for challenges after every free play was still sabotaged. Episode 7 is Phobia Factor. So, DJ passes the snake, Eva passes worms, Courtney fills the jelly, Bridget fails. Jeff fails the ring cloud. Harold fails the ninjas. Duncan passes the cardboard. And Shawn hears zombies. Sadie passes. Trent passes the mimes. Owen and Izzy pass. Gwen passes. Right around. Shauna passes. Cody fails. Lindsay passes. And Beth passes. That's 6 points. And Shawn, his fear is zombies. And I'm pretty sure Shawn could do the exact same thing. So I think Shawn could pass the challenge because he did attack Jasmine in that one challenge. So I think if Shawn was threatened enough, I do think he would be able to pass and basically just kill a zombie, which I assume it would just be Chef in a suit. In a robot suit or in muck. Or it would just be Cody after his time bomb. So Shawn would get the point. As for Courtney, in this universe, Courtney could jump to get the points. However, I still don't think she would because in the original she didn't. So the Bass still is the challenge. And without Tyler as a human shield, Courtney can't save herself. As Duncan and the others would vote for her, but I think Harold and Shawn would agree to get rid of Courtney, which means they can get Eva and Sadie. And I think they could also convince DJ because about his fear of snakes, so Courtney gets eliminated. This annoys Duncan, but there's nothing they can really do here. Episode 8 is Up the Creek. Bridget is still upset about the gift, so she would take Sadie. Jeff and DJ. Duncan and Shawn. Duncan would take Shawn, seeing this as a good opportunity to make himself further into the game. This leaves Eva with Harold, and this would make things interesting. The Gophers, it would still be LaShawn, Izzy, Quentin Trent, Owen Cody, Lindsay Beth. Cody and Owen would still have their bet. There would be some awkward tension between Gunn and Trent, but I still think they would be cool. Duncan and Shawn would be talking and getting along pretty well, and actually have a couple of things in common. Duncan would reach his hand out to Shawn to make an alliance with him to try and get further into the game. And because Duncan's not been nearly to mean as Harold in this universe, because Shawn has kind of been the middleman, I do think Shawn would accept, on the condition that they add Eva and Harold because they are outsiders, and it would be cool to have an alliance. And Shawn explains having Harold in their alliance would actually have the numbers, so they would have a full guys alliance. And Duncan would consider this, knowing full well that in the original he did actually do this plan, just a lot later in the timeline. Eva and Harold would get on pretty well, and Harold would talk to Eva about trying to get further in the game with her. And of course, we now have to talk about Harold still accidentally burns the oars. Izzy gives him the idea, and she still gets chased down by the CRMP. Episode 9. Eva would go to Bridget and Sadie and make a girls' alliance to counter the guys, and Duncan would make the guys' alliance a lot earlier, and he would include Harold. Because Duncan's not made that mean to Harold in this timeline, Harold reluctantly accepts. So 9, Duncan, Sadie, Eva, and Shawn would be Deer, and DJ, Shawn the Hunter. With Shawn trying to convince Harold to work with Duncan. Gwen, Trent, Cody, and now Shauna are Deer. However, I think Harold is a lot more reluctant, and DJ and Eva would win the challenge, but Cody would never get mauled by a bear because Beth would never leave halfway the challenge to steal the barbecue chips, meaning the Pascal elimination. Go for it. I think with Beth having enough false determination, without Heather holding her back, I think would reveal the Tiki statue, so they vote her off. Episode 10 is the cooking challenge, and I think this is where they would still mess with Harold. Jeff is still the head chef, and I think Harold, Owen actually eats the ribs. However, I think Duncan would still teach him a lesson, even though he's not really mean to Harold here, and Harold would learn his lesson like he does in the original, and everyone votes for Owen after eating the ribs. Episode 11 is Who You Can Trust, so it's DJ and Trent, with DJ still winning the first part of the challenge. Gwen, Trent, Gwen Cody, Jeff and Duncan. Of course, Gwen and Cody still win. Trent and Lindsay, Jeff and Bridget with Lindsay, Cindy Trent at the Infirmary, Lashana, Cody, Eva, Sadie. I think Eva, Cody, Lashana, Cody, then Trapeze, Harold, Shawn, Gwen, Lashana, Lindsay, Gwen. I think Gwen gets in the Infirmary. Blind William Tell. DJ still loses his bunny, which is eaten by a snake, and the tick by a shark. And TJ and Jeff, Lindsay, Shauna, I think they go for some challenge. And Eva's not annoyed at Sadie here. And because Duncan has the guys alliance, Harold would go to the girls and convince them to get rid of Duncan, Jeff, or DJ. And he tells them to get rid of DJ because he would be the easiest one of the four to get rid of, as he cost him today's challenge. And Harold would be on board with this because DJ did mess with him last episode, so he'd have no problem getting rid of DJ. And the other four vote for DJ, with the other four believing that they have Harold, will probably vote for someone like Eva. And I think here Shawn would realize DJ, Jeff and Bridget are very close. DJ's close to Eva. The guys, in the end, I think they actually vote for Eva. Wouldn't be annoyed at Sadie for this challenge, so I feel like Eva would convince Duncan and the others to vote for Sadie. But because Eva's mellowed out a lot more in this universe, I still think they wouldn't vote her off. So I think the group would vote for Eva, knowing full well she would be a much bigger challenge beast going forward. So Eva, I think Harold, look at the guys, realizing Bridget or Sadie. I think this is where Duncan would do his little Bridget play. So Duncan would go to instead. Harold goes to the girls and gets Shawn to vote for DJ, meaning DJ is eliminated. DJ, however, Eva is friends with DJ, so Eva is with the guys. And Shawn doesn't want to vote for Harold because him and Harold are very close friends, and Duncan can see that. So between Bridget and Sadie, I think everyone would vote for Sadie. For similar reasons to the original, as without Courtney around, Duncan would try to do his Jeff play. And Duncan has these 5 votes. So I think this is what he does. Duncan gets Jeff, DJ. Shawn turns to Harold. But even DJ are close. With Bridget and Jeff. And Duncan realizing that, of course, when Duncan gets into the outhouse, of course, Duncan and Sadie weren't nearly as close here, so I feel like what would happen is Duncan would go to Shawn, Sadie, and Harold and realizes there are practically 2 couples. And I think this is where Duncan does his little Bridget play. And I think in this universe, it would be even more convincing for Duncan to pull off this. And I think everyone votes for Eva because she's a massive threat going forward. She's too big of a threat in the merge and quite threatening. So I think Duncan would tell everyone to vote for Eva. Eva would be annoyed at this, but there's nothing they can really do. The guys band together and get rid of Eva. So 12 is basic training, and Duncan, and who tags out first? Sadie tags out Lindsay. Then Cody, and Harold wouldn't be forced to quit because Duncan's not really as mean to him as he is in the original. But I still think Harold would probably wipe out here. Duncan would still be sent to the outhouse, and this is where Duncan would be with Sadie. And I think what would happen is Shawn would end up sliding down a tree. So between Shawn and Gwen, I do think Shawn would win the challenge because we do see that Shawn is really good at this thing. And Lindsay gets voted off. Episode 13 is Extreme Torture, so it's Trent and DJ, Trent, Jeff and Lashana, and then Gwen, and then Harold. Cody, and then Harold. And Harold would, without Heather's chopping off the stories, and Harold crashed into a rock. So I think they kill Vasily for the challenge. Gwen and Cody, they are close, and she likes Trent. But I do think she will vote for Cody in this universe because she never has that boat ride with him, and she never has that lesson of, of, Gwen and overlapping and all that. So I do think he does get eliminated, even though I think Cody and Gwen would have bonded around this point as well. Me and Cody get sent home. And here we have the guys versus the girls. The girls would win the challenge, but Shawn decides to make a girls' alliance, but the non-elimination round.
Yeah.
However, without Owen being here to eat the ribs, I think the girls would win the challenge. Luckily, this is just a reward challenge, and there's no significant rewards in this challenge. In episode 14, and we are at the merge. So yeah, pretty big different merge. Sadie and Harold are here. And we're still bringing back Izzy, but I'm gonna say it's still Eva, even though she just got eliminated. It makes no sense. It's been a few episodes. Shawn still wins the challenge. Everyone votes Eva for similar reasons to the original. Although Eva's mellowed out a lot more because they wouldn't hate her as much. It's more that she's a challenge beast rather than anything else. Episode 16, because Lashana just made the Girls Alliance, they are able to convince Sadie, and they're also able to get Izzy because they realize that the guys have majority at this point in this situation. And I think they realize Trent is really their only option to be convinced. Because Trent's not nearly close to the killer boss. And Duncan is with Sadie, so she's not going to vote for. So Gwen, Bridget, and Sadie are not going to vote for their mans, meaning that Duncan, Jeff, and Trent are already out. But Trent's not really as close to the other Killer Bass members, and Harold, well, he isn't exactly the closest to Duncan. I think him and Duncan are pretty tight at this point, so they would get on pretty well. Similar to how they do in action. In episode 16, Lashana still wins the challenge, and DJ on the roof. I think somebody else called DJ on the roof. And I think that person would more likely be Harold. Harold winning immunity. Now, Duncan's plan was to get rid of Bridget. However, because he knows Jeff would probably flip here, he needs to convince one of the girls to get rid of Bridget. But I don't think in this universe any of the girls would vote for Bridget. So Duncan decides not to vote for her yet. So Duncan convinces the guys that we need to, and because Sadie is here and he just got with her, that was only because he didn't have Courtney. And I don't think Duncan would really have that play in this universe. So Duncan would tell the guys that they need to vote somebody else off, and they decide. The girls go to Trent, and the guys go to Trent, and simply point out to the girls that Trent will just get voted off next because the guys are going to be a lot closer. And I think Trent would accept. The Hide and Be Sneaky challenge, I think the winner, Harold and Shawn. I think Harold wins the challenge. So he wins immunity. And I think, because there's no Heather, there's no reason for Trent to get voted off. The guys have majority. The guys are going to vote for Izzy because she's the biggest threat. She's a wild card. Shawn, I would have a reason to wear that either because Izzy's not in the Girls Alliance. And Harold wins the challenge. And the guys would vote for Izzy because she's the most unpredictable. Lashana would go with that vote because she's not in the Girls Alliance. Episode 17 is Hide and Be Sneaky. Gwen, Trent, Cody, Duncan, Bridget, Jeff. Lashana realizes that there are obviously 3 couples. So Lashana goes to Shawn, Harold, and DJ and makes an alliance with them to get out the couples. And Shawn, DJ, and Harold are confused, and Lashana points out that if they do not work together, the couples will choose each other in the end. So they accept. And Lashana still wins the Hide and Be Sneak challenge, and I think who calls DJ out on the roof? I think it's Harold. So Lashana and Harold win immunity. So Lashana tells the girls that they need to vote for one of the guys off. However, in this universe, uh, Shauna has a secret line to Harold, DJ, and Shawn. And I think the girls. Bridget doesn't like Duncan's rude attitude in this universe. So I think the four would agree to hear Duncan, but say he doesn't want it. And Trent's not close to Duncan, so he's happy to vote with him. And I think Harold would vote for Duncan because even though he's not been that mean to him historically, Shawn would refuse to vote for Duncan because he's close friends with him. DJ would as well. But Harold is not really that bothered with Duncan because out of these guys, he's the least connected with Duncan, so it would make a logical sense that he would still vote for him. Meaning, Sadie would refuse to vote for Duncan, and Shawn realizes her man's not going to love each other. However, so Shauna's best bet is to convince the guys to vote for Trent. Because this is because Duncan, Jeff, DJ, and Harold aren't close to Trent. Duncan realizes that Gwen and Trent are a couple, and that can be quite threatening. Shauna would have three people on her side, and with Shauna convincing the guys, Trent is eliminated. This shocks Gwen, and they wish Trent farewell. Gwen is annoyed at Lashana for Trent getting eliminated, but there's nothing they could really do here. The guys to vote her off, and the girls realize there's somebody vote for Trent. Episode 18. Gwen's fully with Lashana now because Trent's eliminated. Bridget and Sadie still like Duncan and Jeff, with of course Harold and Shawn bickering about whether or not they should leave Lashana's alliance. But Harold says he still likes Lashana as a result. Episode 18 is the bike race, and Lashana will wipe out in the first round. Jeff wouldn't forget the bolts, but DJ and Gwen wipe out, and Sadie qualifies the second round. Duncan wipes out into Harold, and Bridget and Jeff would wipe out, and Bridget would have magical awareness, so she'd have really good balance. So I think due to the unfair ruling, I think Shawn is eliminated. Shawn's wished farewell by the guys, and basically he's wished farewell and tells Harold to win the game and be friends with Duncan. Episode 19, Hook, Line, Screamer. DJ still gets the worst death, so we can skip that episode. I think Duncan and Sadie are still together. Sadie will stay with Duncan for the entire time when he tricks Gwen. Harold would be with the guys and they talk about strategy, but other than that, DJ gets voted off. Episode 20, Gone Wild. Gwen would still win the challenge, and Duncan would go to the guys, realizing they're being outnumbered. The Harold has to stick with them at this point. But they think it's a popularity contest, so Shawn realizes they're practically two couples. So she tells Harold that they need to work together to get rid of Duncan, Bridget, or Sadie. However, because Harold is cool with Duncan, I think Lashana would get Bridget to vote for Duncan. And Sadie won't vote for Duncan. Jeff won't vote for Duncan, but I think Harold would vote for Duncan. But at this point in the game, they think it's a popularity contest. So instead, between Bridget and Jeff, I think that they would choose to get rid of Bridget. And because obviously it's no Heather target, Bridget, Sadie, and Jeff would be viable candidates. Harold can be convinced to vote for one of the two couples because he knows he's definitely going next. So Shauna would have to think about instead to convince Bridget to vote for Duncan. This is because I think Jeff's too low with Duncan and definitely wouldn't vote him off. So Bridget decides instead to get these guys to vote Shauna. Duncan realizes that they need to figure a way out of this. And the girls, but because Gwen's annoyed at Bridget even though they vote her off, I think nobody else. But Duncan would agree to vote for Bridget. I think this is where Duncan does do the Bridget play, meaning Bridget is eliminated. Jeff wishes her farewell and is sad to see her go. Episode 21, I think it's Duncan and Shauna, Sadie and Harold, Gwen and Jeff. I think Gwen and Jeff win the eating challenge. The rest of now, they all think it's Gwen and Jeff. Revelation order will be Duncan and Shauna, me and Gwen and Jeff win immunity. Because they think it's a popularity contest at this point and Jeff's immune, they would vote for Sadie because she would likely be a more popular candidate, and Duncan and Sadie are a couple. Sadie and Duncan kiss each other farewell, with Duncan being very sad that Sadie's eliminated and swearing vengeance against Shauna. Episode 22 is still Shauna because Sadie just got eliminated and would miss her, so I think that's still that. Episode 23, non-elimination round. Episode 24 is guys versus girls, but because there's only Gwen, it would be now Gwen and Jeff and Duncan and Harold. Duncan and Harold would do alright here, but they definitely wouldn't be as good of a team as Gwen and Jeff. Meaning, Harold and Duncan lose the challenge. Jeff chooses to get rid of Duncan because he'd have a bigger vendetta against him. Episode 25 is our triple dog theory. Now, the judges members may know what theirs would have gone, but they're not around Owen, so that's important. So Gwen drank out of the toilet and Jeff went sewage. I can't see Harold doing the same thing. So third place is Harold. Gwen and Jeff are in the finale. Of course, they're helpers. With Harold being with Jeff, Duncan, Gwen, Jeff, Shauna, most people being with Jeff. And Shawn, he would be with Jeff because he worked in an alliance with him. And that's a complete time on total drama. Jeff, would he give up the prize money? If Jeff won, he gives up the prize money, meaning we are now going to go to Total Drama World Tour because Tyler was in World Tour. Shawn wouldn't qualify for action, so now we go straight into World Tour. Everyone except for Sadie, who would stay with Duncan, would qualify in World Tour. And again, Ezekiel, he's still here, so basically let's talk about who gets on what team and explain what happens. So this is the team, but Duncan quits in the first episode like he does in the original. Because Cody was the first to arrive, he would be stuck in Team Chris with Sierra. And Courtney would be complaining how they're a player down, and Chris would say it's not their problem. Sadie would miss Duncan, and Heather would see this as a good opportunity to try and manipulate Sadie into an alliance, because even though she's not that bad in Sadie this historically, Heather would have made it pretty far in action. So I think Heather's personality would have been, she still would have been not likable for last season. And I think what would happen is basically Ezekiel still uses a stick, and Alejandro has someone to balance on the stick. And of course, Shawn would respect that. In episode 3, I think Shawn would be sad that him and Harold aren't on the same team because he was friends with him last season. Alejandro would see this and would confront him, saying that he's now his friend and they can be friends if you go. Alejandro has a confessional saying they need to get rid of Harold fast because Shawn needs to go to him in this situation. With Sierra around, they need to get rid of her because in this universe he would see Sierra even more of a threat because Cody's on their team, which would annoy Alejandro, and he doesn't recognize Noah as big of a threat at this point and sees him as useful. Harold still does his authentic Japan idea, with Alejandro and Noah coming up with the monster one, and when Heather, Courtney, and Gwen falling out, leaving Izzy and Sadie to do the commercial, I think it would lead to a disaster, meaning that the Amazon elimination, they vote for Heather because they don't like her, so Heather gets eliminated. In episode 4, I think, is the Yukon, Alejandro would still vote with Bridget and get her stuck to a pole. Shawn would pull back his team, but it probably takes him a bit longer, but I still think Team Chris won the challenge. And there's that. Episode 5 is Aftermath. Episode 6, Aftermath. Episode 7, Slap Slap Revolution. So I think Team Amazon and Team Victory finish around the same time. So it's Alejandro, Shawn, and Sierra. Courtney and Gwen. say Izzy, which leaves Shawn and Harold. Now, without Heather being here, there's no reason for Shawn to jump off the platform. And because Cody's not competing, Sierra is strong, but I don't think she's determined to beat Courtney or Izzy. So I think they win the challenge. And Alejandro would convince Cody to vote Sierra because he wanted to do the original. And Alejandro would say to Cody, vote Sierra, I'll vote Sierra, but you have to vote me a favor at some point down the line. So Cody would accept because Alejandro says you have to vote me a favor at some point. And Shawn would agree because he would see Cody as a cool dude and would not want Cody or anyone else to, be obsessed by Sierra. So everyone votes Sierra, which Sierra is upset by, and is because she never finds out Cody voted her off. There's no reason for her not to be upset with him. Episode 9, Can't Help Feeling I Love You. DJ goes off into our episode, destroys his team statue, they get mad and vote him off. In episode 10 is an elimination round. Episode 11, Who You Can Trust. And I think in this universe, I forgot the Amazon channel, right? And goes left out, which follow they lose. But that's not only trans. Episode 11 is Jamaica. So Izzy would jump out of the plane while it's crashing, and that's important. So Gwen and Owen are sent to the infirmary. Alejandro realizing, Shawn, Harold and Lindsay are really good at this challenge. Was these a good opportunity to make them lose? Because you'd be threatened by Harold, even more so with Shawn. So basically, Harold plans to sabotage Team Victory like he does DJ originally by punching the trap going before them and getting them to lose. And I think he would want to sabotage Team Victory, but first of all, I think Alejandro would see it as too risky because Shawn would think it's suspicious that they would lose the challenge. So instead, I think he would go for Team Amazon. But because they're on the same team and Izzy just got medically evacuated, Chris wouldn't get two of the same people off the same team, so Team Amazon are safe. Episode 13 is where Duncan returns. And Zeke is still Jack the Ripper with Noah and no one win the challenge. Shawn gets caught on the stretcher table. Cody would be with them. And Noah is suspicious of Alejandro. Gwen and Courtney find Duncan's second prize. And Team Victor come back with nothing, so they vote for Lindsay. Alejandro is annoyed at Noah for calling him out. Shawn would be annoyed at Noah as well, but he doesn't say anything at this point. And Duncan also didn't say anything either. So episode 15, well, Cody would still win the tiebreaker. It would be Harold and Sadie. So I think here, Harold wins the challenge. And Chris keeps this. This is just an elimination anyways. Episode 15, The X-Files. Owen gets captured in Area 51. Alejandro is by himself. Courtney and Gwen are together, and they're friends, so they carry the portal. And because Duncan makes that deal with Alejandro, saving him and Shawn, so Owen and Alejandro carry Owen, and Shawn's carrying the alien portal. And because Tiger's not here to screw up, I think Team Chris would win the challenge, and Harold would lose the tiebreaker. Episode 16, Shawn would be sad that Harold is eliminated, and all that. Owen takes around his emu. And because Courtney doesn't know about the kiss, obviously she's not throwing the challenge, so I think Team Chris will win because without Courtney throwing, there's no reason for Team Amazon and Team Victory not to win here. And I think everyone will throw Owen. After that's done, he pulled. Alejandro would want to get rid of Noah, but I think this is where Alejandro cashes in that favor with Duncan and Cody, and decides that Owen is more likable, so he gets them to vote for Noah. Even though Owen cost him the challenge, they vote for Noah. 17 on the mission round, and we are at the merge. Everyone votes for Owen after that stunt he pulled, losing today's challenge. I think Shawn, Cody, and Duncan would vote for Owen because he would convince the guys that Noah would be an easy vote in the merge. And they accept. So Blaney joins. Okay, so Noah's out here. So now we talk about the pairs. And it would be Owen and Blaney, Alejandro and Shauna, Gwen, Courtney and Duncan, Gwen and Shawn, which leaves Sadie and Cody. Now, because the kiss never actually, the kiss doesn't happen in episode 14. That's my bad. The kiss never happens because first of all, Duncan at Sadie and Tyler never finds out. Alejandro still throws. Owen and Blaney fall. Shawn would fall with Gwen, Cody and Sadie, so Duncan and Courtney win immunity. But they think it's popularity contest at this point, so they vote Owen off. 9. Episode 20, Chinese Fake Out. Courtney doesn't qualify, everyone else makes it. So I think Duncan wins the challenge. Duncan is where Alejandro has Blaney. He clashes favor with Cody. Duncan, and he's able to get Courtney in the original. So I feel like these 4 would vote for these 5 vote for Blaney, and the other 4 for Courtney. Courtney and Blaney are just sent home. Episode 21, Alejandro's plan trip. Duncan was waiting for attention. I was watching their Ezekiel. Alejandro would still do this plan because he would be more threatening, more so because Sadie's here. Alejandro wins the challenge. Duncan would flip on Alejandro. So instead, he votes for Shauna. Alejandro votes for Shauna. I think the girls would vote together. Cody. I think here, Duncan, Sadie, they're a couple. Shawn won't vote for Duncan, but I think the other 4 do vote for Duncan. Duncan's out. F22 is Raff Phoebe. Sound's sponsor trip is get to the top. He races the borders like he does get there first. He does get there first originally. He starts to unfaithful. So Alejandro wins. So Alejandro has Sadie and LaShawn on his side. And I think Cody and Gwen are together, and Alejandro would talk to Shawn getting rid of them and point out that Gwen and Cody would choose each other in the end. And I think Shawn would accept. And I think they vote for Gwen for similar reasons to the original, but I think Shawn would work with Gwen and Cody. And in this round, they vote for LaShawn, so Gwen and LaShawn are sent home. Episode 23 is Drumheller. Alejandro would be annoyed that would be gotten at this because he got 2 people out. And I think Alejandro wins the first part, and Alejandro finds a barrel very early on, but then gets trapped by Heather. Now that Heather's not there, I think with equipment, Alejandro would just do the challenge faster, so Alejandro wins. So Cody and Shawn are close. So I feel like they would vote for Sadie, and I think Alejandro goes for the same thing. So episode 25, I Triple Dot, is the race to Hawaii. Now here's the thing though. Cody gave up because he was facing Alejandro and Heather. But that wouldn't happen here. So I think Cody would still give up because he gave up in the original. So 3rd place, Cody. So Alejandro and Shawn are in the finale, with Shawn picking Duncan as his helper. And I think he would pick Owen as his help. And Harold. For Alejandro, I think he would pick Heather. And he would probably pick Katie. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. That's the complete timeline in the World Tour, and now we're going on to Pocktail Island. So Revenge of the Island would be completely the same, and in All-Stars, I'm not doing All-Stars because I've already done World Tour. I think it would be similar titles in All-Stars scenarios if that happened. Obviously, the Courtney Duncan drama wouldn't exist, and neither would the Gwen stuff, but besides that, there's not going to be a whole lot that probably changes. And Tyler's introduction would be the same as it was in Total Drama, with Tyler getting along with Ella pretty well, and I think Tyler would try to do a hamstring, but end up failing miserably. Without Shawn here, Tyler would lose the challenge. They lose the challenge, and Beardo still gets voted off like he does in the original. Tyler would go out and tell his team that to be a team player, that he will vouch for them to try and scavenge for food. However, because Tyler's not nearly as good, wouldn't be nearly as good as Shawn, Sammy and Jasmine still go out scavenging together. Tyler and Sammy would be introduced to each other, and Tyler would try to impress her with a hamstring, but end up failing miserably with Sammy laughing. And Rodney would still be Rodney. Jasmine would introduce herself with Sammy and like Tyler and actually get on with him pretty well. I think here Tyler would also agree that, he's trying to scavenge for his team. He doesn't know really how. Jasmine says it's sweet of him trying to help his team out. And I think Jasmine, realizing that Tyler is failing miserably, would be sympathetic enough to where she would give him some apples and they would go back to camp. Saying in this challenge, Leonard would still cost him the challenge for the pig, and Sugar's still mean to Ella, meaning that Leonard is eliminated, and Dave still likes Sky. Episode 3 is going to be different. This is the Truth or Scare. And I think Amy is still mean to Sammy. And Sugar is mean to Ella. However, I do think Tyler would say to Sugar, we shouldn't be mean to our own team. And Sugar tells Tyler to back off, which he walks in sadness. Ella would see Tyler as her knight in shining armor because she saw that for Dave in the original. I think she would thank Tyler as a friend and ask about Dave. And Tyler says, well, I thought Sky liked Dave and, all that. So I think Ella would say, okay. And, Sky would still be happy that Dave likes her. It's kind of weird, but that's just how it was. Season. Tyler's fear would be the chickens, and we know, that he fails. I think Sammy would try to convince him to do his fear. And Rodney still uses the tiebreaker, so there's no reason for him not to get voted off. In episode 4, we have the balloons challenge, and Tyler would fail miserably. And Sammy and Amy still argue, so I actually think Tyler would get himself eliminated. And I think what happened is basically Sammy and Amy. It was actually Shawn that they were planning to sabotage. And Sugar and Ella are arguing with each other with Sky and Dave. I think Amy still sabotaged here. So Amy gets voted off like he does in the original. In episode 5, this is the episode where usually it's Ella gets out. So this is the banana episode. Not the banana one, this is where the dueling sticks. I'm sorry. Episode 4 and 3 are actually the other way around, so Amy gets sabotaged, and Rodney obviously gets eliminated in the Phobia Factor Challenge with Tyler, Phil, and the chickens. Episode 5, Tyler would obviously be... Sammy obviously would be happy to see Tyler, and I think they would be happy to see each other. Then, basically the Dueling Sticks episode, it'd be Topher and Tyler. Tyler would try to impress Sammy, but would end up crashing him and Topher Topher and Tyler into the water. Sammy would go next to Sugar, and she would then check on Tyler to see if he's okay, but Tyler would put a thumbs up saying he's fine. Would put his thumbs up saying... And that is Dave. Now, Dave would take the banana, but then Sugar eats the banana, and then Ella has to sing to save Dave. And Ella gets voted off because Max gets eliminated in the original. Actually, this is the eel episode. Because there's no Shawn here, Dave would never have to would never go missing, so Amy would never scare him, so he'd never be at the challenge. So how would we get the challenge, first of all? Second of all, it'd be Tyler and Topher. He'd try to impress Sammy. Of course, he fails. Sammy would check on him after she'd go up against Sugar. She would then check on Tyler to see if he's okay, and he says he's cool. Sky would complain to Tyler about talking to the other team, and Tyler says he's just having fun, which Sky takes note of. Ella and Max, with Ella, of course, Max still in the Eel, and Scarlet, and then Sky. Which, of course, Dave being Dave, with Tyler, of course, being last to fight Jasmine. Now, in Greece, Tyler didn't want to fight Courtney, and Tyler says he's a gentleman, he doesn't want to fight a girl. So I think Jasmine would get the point, meaning the floating salmon actually win the challenge here. Because they only won the original because Shawn thought Jasmine was a zombie, so I do think the floating salmon would win the challenge. However, Amy would still return to the game, and I think Chris would find it funny that the losing team gets Amy. However, because she's just a returning contestant, Chris would say that she has immunity. And everyone would vote for Sugar because Ella pacified the bear in this episode, and in this episode, Ella pacified the bear to get the point, and Chris said if you say again, you're out the show. Although Tyler and Sky would be friends, and she doesn't like Tyler talking to Amy, and they would want to get rid of Amy because she's the evil of the two twins, she'd have no reason not to go along with getting rid of Sugar to help Ella. Episode 6, she would try to befriend Tyler, but he would refuse because he's dating Amy. As Amy would realize that, of course, my sister gets the jock. And I think this is where Dave gets the banana, but then Sugar eats the banana, so the bears lose the challenge. Now, the problem is there's simply not enough time for the Max and Scarlet to go off into their episode to make traps. And the bears already win the challenge already, even with Amy on their team. However, I still think Topher would be able to get Chris's phone. Because at this point in the season, this is why Topher was planning to get Chris's phone. Meaning the bears win the challenge. And I think everyone votes for Max because he is very annoying, and Scarlet would vote for him. She would convince the girls we should take the advantage right now for the guys because they're on their own. And Max is eliminated without Ella singing, there's no reason for Ella to get voted off. Episode 7... This is trying to be sneaky. Sammy and Jasmine try to comfort each other. Tyler would hang out with Ella and talk to her pretty well. Sky would still belch, and Dave she still likes me. And I think Scarlet still finds the remote control that Max threw away in the original, so she has that now. And this is an honorable mention, but this episode will be important because it's usually Sky that swaps over. So Sky and Topher swap teams. Sky and Sammy swap teams. This is because in this universe, Sammy and Jasmine are really close, and Chris does the exact same thing for Max and Scarlet, even though they don't like each other. And I think Chris knew that, but he just liked it as a joke. So I'm just assuming that's the same reason. In episode 8, Tyler would be delighted that Sammy and him are on the same team now, with Amy obviously trying to be nice to Tyler. Sammy would tell Tyler how her sister's really mean to her, with Tyler also introducing his friend Ella to Sammy. Dave would be devastated on how Sky's on the opposite team, and Tyler would comfort him, saying at least he'll have his girl back soon, with she's not eliminated, but Dave says she might as well be. Jasmine wouldn't tell Sky for the entire episode, don't trust boys and all that, because Shawn never hurt her feelings. And because of all that, Scarlet would throw the horn at Tyler, sabotaging him. Topher still causes a cave-in, and I think he loses the challenge. Even with Sammy and Amy arguing, I just don't see how the Bears would not be able to win the challenge, as Topher costs them the challenge. And we are at the merge. So Amy and Sammy are in the merge, and Ella is in the merge. And Topher, I don't think Ella would sing here. And in episode 9, I think what would happen, keep me wary, is Dave would still win the challenge, and I think here Scarlet gets caught by Dave and Sky. Then Shawn won out of the pebble with Dave, so I do think Sky would win the challenge. So Dave and Scarlet get caught, and Ella. Amy gets caught, and Tyler would sacrifice himself to save Sammy, so Jasmine wins immunity, so Sky and Jasmine are immune. Now Dave would still want to quit because of Sky, so basically they would vote for Amy, but I think Dave would quit saving Sky because of, Sky not liking him that way. As a result. Episode 10, Tyler's shocked that he's the last. Tyler's the only guy in the merge. I only just realized that. Episode 10 is basically when Scarlet Fever. So it would be Jasmine, Sammy and Tyler, Amy and Scarlet. So basically it's a group of 3 and 2. Amy, Tyler, and Sammy. Ella and Tyler, Sammy and Amy. Sky and Scarlet. Jasmine and Sammy. Ella and Amy, and Tyler is with the girls. Scarlet would use a remote control to trick that remote controller to block off entrances, which would now be what it's probably used for. I also think Scarlet would trick Sky instead of threatening her like she does with Max, because Sky's a lot more of a stronger person, so the challenge would now be trying to stop Scarlet. So I think because there is the zombie animatronics, I think now this would be the best opportunity for Ella to sing in this challenge. So I think Ella would sing, Jasmine would stop her, and she would win immunity. So Scarlet would get automatically eliminated, and because Ella sang, Ella is eliminated. They wish her very well, and it's sad that she's gone, but there's nothing else they can really do. Episode 11 is the race to the top. So, obviously Amy wants to get rid of Sammy and Tyler. Amy goes to Sky and makes an alliance to get rid of the couple, and Sky would accept knowing forward that Tyler and Sammy are too close, and Jasmine. So basically Amy's slowing down Sky, like she is in the original, like Sugar is, trying to get to the top, because they're racing to the top. She knows full well that beating Sammy would be the easiest thing in the finale. And I think Sammy would sabotage Jasmine with the tree. So between these 5, I think Jasmine could get to the top, and Tyler and Sky. So between Sammy and Amy, I think this is where Sammy would finally stand up to Amy and finally fight her, and I think she would manage to get to the top, meaning Amy is eliminated. Amy is annoyed at this and calls the other contestants a bunch of idiots. Episode 12. So this is where they have to make a talent. So the only person we don't know is Tyler. However, for Tyler, I think it'd be something like Dodgeball, or basically who can do the coolest stunt. Something like that, something sports-like. And I think Sammy in the talent show, jumping up the tree, Jasmine, Sky, Sammy, then Tyler. The hurdles, Tyler screws up. And then I think the talent show, Tyler wouldn't do that well either. And then it's just who does the best impressive. So who comes first? So Jasmine wins immunity, and I think Jasmine votes for Sky because she would rather keep Sammy happy. Now, it's a bit tricky for Jasmine to kind of figure out between Sammy and Tyler who would she take to the end, because Tyler and Sammy are boyfriend and girlfriend. Now, I do think she does take Sammy because of the fact her and Sammy were on the same team and friends longer. Even though she'd be close to Tyler, I think it's very close, but I think she goes to Sammy in the end. However, there's always the chance Tyler could do self-sacrifice, but even then I think he would choose Sammy. So third place, Tyler. Sammy and Tyler kiss farewell and will miss each other and see each other after the show. So Jasmine and Sammy are in the finale. And Sammy gets Tyler, and I think Jasmine... I don't know who Jasmine gets. Maybe Max? Scarlet, because her and Scarlet were kind of friends. And I think it would be kind of funny that, Scarlet was an option in the original, so I don't get that, why Chris made her an option, but he did. So they each get winning endings. That's it for this video. I think that's watching the submission would have gone. I kind of think the winner, Jasmine's my favourite Pocket character, so I do want her to win, but from a story perspective, it probably makes more sense the same to win. It could go either way, so I generally don't know who would win the season. But yeah, that's the quick time of Tyler and Shawn swap seasons. Shawn. There's Shawn. I think this is interesting because they're two of my favorite characters. And yeah, peace for all.